So let's call the meeting to order. I have 4:35, Joanne. And as far as roll call, it looks like we have everybody but Chris and Susie. Actually, should I mute?
Oh, Eve, you want to make sure, unmute yourself here because it's kind of connected. So, yep, there you go.
Very confusing. I apologize for the confusion. Okay, so I guess we're ready to go. So we have a member of the public joining us tonight. Hi, Kaylee. If you would please introduce yourself and give your full name and address, then you have the floor for 5 minutes. Please go ahead.
Hi, I am Callie Cordova. I live at 2184 Frontier Street, 80501. And I am really just interested in finding out more about what the board does. I have a 3-year-old son who has been doing discovery days, and we've been doing the activity kits, and I've just been so impressed by all the work and the flexibility that the museum has shown, and still engaging children during this time. And so I want to put that praise out there. But otherwise, I'm really just here to see what you all are up to. So thank you so much.
Great. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it, and we'll hope that maybe you can be more interested as we go through what we have to show you tonight.
Thank you.
So first of all, let's look at the minutes if we could. And if there are any comments? If not, do I hear a motion to approve the minutes?
I so move. Dale.
Great, thank you, Dale. Is there a second?
Second, Tom.
Great, thank you, Tom. All in favor of approving the minutes from last month's meeting as they are written, please say aye, or raise your hand, or some of you I can't see because you don't have your video up. Rhea, can you and Kim, can you? Super. Thank you so much. Okay. Anyone opposed? Okay. Looks like that is unanimous approval. Okay. So we'll just move right along to the accessions. Eric, if you wouldn't mind going through those for us, please.
All right. If I could have the PowerPoint up. Okay, so this is a pretty light month for accessions, luckily. We can go to the next slide and I'll talk about the first accession. So this is actually from the collection of Heritage Lakewood or the Lakewood Heritage Center. And they apparently got a large donation of milk bottles at some point in their history and are now kind of dispersing them to more appropriate homes. So we have 4 milk bottles that relate to Longmont history. These are all ones that I've been able to confirm we don't have anything like this. In the case of the ones from Shelley's, we don't have anything from Shelley's. And the other 2, we have other milk bottles, but they're much later. So that is the Longmont milk bottle accession. Does anyone have any questions on that?
You know how old those are, Eric?
The Shelley's ones are probably 1950s. The Colorado Creamery and Valley Farm Dairy are probably closer to 1920s.
Oh, cool. Thank you.
All right. If there aren't any other questions, we'll go to the next slide. So this is a postcard of Main Street. We have the original photograph that this postcard was made from in our collection, but the postcard's kind of interesting just because you do get the color. Obviously, the original photo was in black and white. And and it actually was also printed, and I don't have the flip side, but on the flip side, it actually says that it was printed in Germany, which was not unusual for lithographs at that time to be printed in Germany. So this one, there's also a message on the back, just kind of, general social catch up, no great significance, but just kind of interesting that it was mailed to someone in Cripple Creek, Colorado. So any questions on the Longmont postcard? All right, well, I believe the next step would be a motion to approve or disapprove.
Oh, sorry, I didn't realize we were at the end. Yes, is there a motion to approve? Hi, Susie. Thank you for joining us. Would someone like to move to accept the accessions?
Bryden, I'll motion to accept the accessions.
Great, thank you, Bryden. Is there a second?
This is Rhea. I'll second.
Great, thank you. All in favor? Raise your hand, do something, say aye. Opposed? Okay, so the accessions have been unanimously approved. Thank you very much. And now, Kim, if you'd like to give the report of the museum director.
Sure, I'm happy to. You guys, I think, got a copy in your packets, but I will say that something has changed already since we last sent this to you. So the first bullet point there is that Boulder County is in orange, but that has now moved to red. So we are trying to navigate what that actually means for the museum. I believe that it's true that it closes our doors. We would still be able to do curbside pickup and that kind of service for programming. But as of right now, we are under the events category of the way that they kind of designate different facilities, and there are 0 events that are happening under this new red order. So we are still trying to navigate that through the city attorney's office, but our current belief is that as of Friday, we are actually closed. We will still do our best to do the online programming that we've been doing that has been very successful. So I'm very, very optimistic about us still being able to provide some services for the citizens. So we're still working very hard, but this is going to be kind of a blow for us, especially for exhibition purposes. So ignore bullet number 1. I'll move on to our SCFD, and feel free to unmute yourself if you have any questions throughout this list. There's a lot of things included in here, so don't hesitate to ask questions along the way. Our SCFD tier 2 distributions have already started to happen. And as I mentioned before, the way that they calculated our $125,000 estimated distribution was based on a 30% reduction in tax revenue. And what they're actually seeing is more like a 3.1% reduction. And so that is going to mean that we are going to get more money than $125,000. So we will see what the final figure will be, but we know it's going to be more than $125,000. So that's good news. The museum is under contract with Studio Architects. This is part of the strategic plan that I had shared with you all. And so we've moved forward with this. We are going to be launching a kickoff meeting on Friday to work with architects to do the master development plan. And basically what we'll do is kind of assess the building as it is now and how it serves our needs and the public's needs. and then start to look at ways that we might be able to expand to offer additional services. And so then hopefully that might include additional gallery space. We've been talking about that for some time, a courtyard renovation, and possibly a cafe that would add amenities to the museum and add sort of linger time for folks who are visiting, you know, when we're not under a pandemic. As far as marketing and development and membership goes, we have done an annual giving mailing that at this point has brought in over $10,000. So that is a really significant number for us. And I think it speaks to people's generosity during the pandemic. So that's been very good news for us. We did try to focus the appeal on COVID recovery, and we'll also be launching some digital components of this around Colorado Gives Day, which is December the 8th. So I feel sure that we'll have additional income from that appeal based on the Colorado Gives Day. We also received a grant for $2,000 from the Boulder County Arts Alliance that is in support of Dia de los Muertos. So that was good news for us. And some of you may know that Joan, who is responsible for our marketing, membership, and development, she's actually on maternity leave. So she won't be back with us until February after she returns. She's due to have a baby tomorrow. So very exciting news for her. In the education department, some of you, I'm sure, participated in some of our Day of Ed activities, and it really was a big hit. Even though we did virtually everything online, it had a lot of, a lot of participation. There were over 500 kits that we made and distributed for folks, and I got one. I don't know if anybody else did. It was amazing. It was full of really fun activities. My kid was entertained for days. He shared it with his pod of kids, and it was really amazing. And it was, there were things in it from all kinds of different collaborators and partners throughout the city. And boy, did they pull together a very, very rich program for people to be able to do at home. So it was really amazing. And then we probably have given away 1,000 if we could have made as many. I mean, it was a lot of work to be able to pull those off. So distributing 500 of those was quite the labor intense project, and they were very, very popular. So fall programming, that's really winding down, and most of it, as I said, is gone to a digital format. We've got Discovery Days, which is arts and crafts for 2 to 6, and art and SIP programs that are at-home based programs. Discovery Days sold out through the end of the year, and even after expanding the number of kits. So that clearly, I think, to Kaylee's point, is hitting a need. And so they've been extremely successful. Again, a lot of that is really just based on our ability to put those kits together. We are going to be moving that to a new platform. When we first started the virtual programming for Discovery Days, the city was really focused on WebEx as the platform. But I think as we've all learned things, Zoom has become the preferred platform. So we are going to be moving to Zoom. And we hope that the participation is going to be about 100 people per week for that. School tours are going to likely develop very slowly. As you all know, especially Susie, engagement with the schools is going to be rather iffy given the conditions that we're under. But we are still pursuing that third grade tour project. And so even though they may be slow to roll out, we're still developing that relationship. And so it'll be slow to roll out, but eventually it'll happen. We're also working on a relationship with the school district to work on their mobile lab project. And so that's also starting to take shape. The first thing that they're going to be working on, the kind of pilot project, is a sort of hard histories, if you will, to try to really address some difficult parts of our history, but make it very engaging for the kids that will be participating. So they're going to be doing that in a graphic novel kind of format, which I think is going to be very popular. And keep the kids thinking on some really kind of deep dives, if you will. So that's going to be moving forward again, probably a little unpredictably, but it will happen. In our collections department, Eric has been really busy writing grants for us throughout this whole pandemic, and so he has worked on putting together another grant for moving our textile storage. To bring some of you up to speed, and as a reminder to others, basically we had a grant that helped us move our 3D collections, most of the 3D collections from the temporary storage site to the new building. And then we still had the textile storage that is at the museum that was not moved with that grant, with that IMLS grant. And so this new grant proposal is going to move the collections that are actually at the museum, remaining at the museum. And so that will do a lot of things for us. All of that material will be centralized in a single location, which is great for researchers and that sort of thing, but also the environmental conditions in that building are much better. And so the collections will be better cared for there as well. So we're hoping to get that moving. And if so, that'll happen in early 22. Eric also attended a SLH virtual conference. I attended a few sessions of that, which I felt like was really quite worth it. It was I think a really cool way to be able to move that conference online. And Eric includes a note here that he was inspired based on that to rethink some of his ideas for the Longmont 150 exhibition. So that's changing kind of a typical historic exhibition is now, that's usually told in a chronology. Now the way that we're going to be doing it is that we're going to be changing it to start from today's issues and then go back in time and kind of look at that through line about where we are today and what the connections are to the history of Longmont, which I think is going to be a very cool way to tell those stories. And so Eric's been working with a committee of folks to try to pull those stories together, and I think it's coming together really nicely. Scott Yoho, who is a new employee that we funded through the NEH CARES grant, he's sort of taken up the project of the digital tours, downtown tours. And so the one that he's working on right now is Latinx history tours. And then we just, in the last couple of days, received a shipment of Eric's book, The First 150 Years. And so it was delayed just a little bit, but it showed up, and it is a gorgeous publication. So yeah, we're super, super excited about that. So we're gonna, we've already had pre-sales for those, and then, oh look, he's got a copy of it right there. That's great. Look at it, isn't it so cool? I'm so excited about it. Yeah. So we've already sold, I think, about 100. Is that right, Eric, through pre-sales? And then we're going to be doing, they'll be available in the gift shop.
Yeah, and 2 bookstores in town will also be carrying them, both Barbed Wire and the Used Book Emporium. So.
This has been a long time coming, so we're super thrilled that this has happened. You might even be able to get a signed copy. Dale, did you have a question? Go ahead. You'll have to unmute yourself. Can you unmute yourself, Dale? There you go.
Do I understand you can order them online?
Yeah.
Am I muted?
No, you're good now. Is that still true, Eric, now that they've arrived?
Yes, we had online ordering during the pre-sale period, and so those were a little cheaper. Now we have online ordering at the full price, and since we'll still hope to be able to do curbside, even if the museum is closed, you'd still be able to come to the museum and pick them up, or you can pay extra and have them shipped to you. So.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions there? I'm kind of looking in 2 places, so stop me verbally if I'm going too fast or if you have a question. Okay, and then under the exhibits portion there, the Dia de los Muertos exhibit featuring community created altars and the Tony Ortega works. Theoretically, it runs through January the 9th. Like I said, we think that we're probably going to be closed as of Friday. That order does only last until the end of the month, technically, and so we may have the opportunity of reopening. We will certainly see how that goes, and we will open it as soon as we can to make sure that that exhibit gets as much attention as it can, because it's really amazing. The exhibits team has also installed Tony's mural, which is in the Western Breezeway between 4th and 5th. If you haven't had a chance to see that on Main Street, it's really quite an amazing piece. And so it is a good testament to Dia de los Muertos and Tony's work as well. So that's very exciting. Jared and his team is also working with CU Boulder's environmental development program to try to get some interns into the building. They are very skilled students, so I think that Jared is keen to work with them. So we're working on that. They're continuing to develop the lithography exhibit that is going to be a companion to our Impressionist show. So Jared is working with museum studies interns to help develop that portion of the exhibition. There, as he's mentions as well, the floor plan for the Impressionist exhibit is he's working on that as well. We have just finished up. He didn't include this, but I think we've just finished up the catalog for that exhibition as well. So there'll be a nice catalog available for the Impressionist show too. They've also been working on redoing the city mayor's photos at the Civic Center. Some of you may know that there was a renovation of the chambers, the council chambers. And so with that renovation, they asked us to help with the reinstallation of the mayor's photos. And so that's actually taken up a lot of Brack's time to remount those and get them framed. So those are underway. They're also been helping the education department and the Day of the Dead and the discovery kits, which I've mentioned has been a lot of work. So that's been a lot of people have contributed to that effort. And then the Art in Public Places just recently acquired a 3D piece that the exhibits department has helped create a plexiglass barrier for. So there has been a lot of great collaborations between AIPP and the museum that I'm happy to see happen. Let's see, they're also working with Downtown Development Authority on developing the content for 2 large cases, also to promote the Longmont 150. So that'll be another kind of marketing collaboration. Auditorium has been doing some great programming. I won't go through each and every one of these, but even with the virtual engagement that we're seeing, there is a lot of activity. So you see there, for instance, with the Dia de los Muertos opening reception, that got 1,200 views. And the Bobby Lefebvre Poet Laureate got 1,100 views. So we're seeing a lot of activity even on our virtual engagement. So that's been really exciting for us to see, despite the fact that we've been having to do things kind of, and long distance from each other. We still are getting a lot of activity. So that's great for us to see. Let's see, when is tomorrow is going to be another event with Eric talking about his book. So if you guys want to tune in for the event tomorrow evening and our Thursday night at the museums, that should, as usual, be a fun, engaging thing for Eric to talk about the book now that we've got it. And then we are still working on what the holiday show may look like with this new order and us being in red. This may change the plans for the holiday show because at this moment, and like I said, it expires at the end of the month, so this may change. But at this moment, we're only allowed to have 4 staff people in the museum at any one time. And so what we had planned on doing for the holiday show is to have those actually live stream from the auditorium. And I don't think that we're going to be able to do that. My guess is that even if things do change, it's going to impact there's still going to be some impact to the holiday show. So stay tuned for some changes to come for that, I suspect. And there have been some rental activity, which has been good, but we did have to cancel the Centennial State Ballet's performance because of the switch to red today. For visitor services in October, we had 457 people visit the galleries, the Day of the Dead exhibit, and the numbers are way up from September, which was good. We had the second Saturday attendance was 64 people, which is really, really great for us under these conditions. And we've still been able to maintain social distancing, so that's good. The gift shop, we normally see the strongest 6 weeks of the year during this Day of the Dead time. And so, of course, that's going to see some impact. Our sales for were $2,600 for October, which is a big decline. So we're definitely seeing some impact there as well. They are working on sales reps at the Met, and so to try to get some impressionist merchandise for the gift shop. So cross your fingers that by the time that exhibit opens, that we'll be able to have some good merch for impressionism. Then also gearing up for Eric Book, as we've been talking about. 61 at the writing of this, it was 61 books online. I think it bumped up between we issued this and now to more like 100. So that saw some good pre-sales. And then for art in public places, there's some cool things that they've been working on for Art on the Move. There's a photograph there of the Whirling Dervish Transcendence, which is a piece by Annette Coleman, and that's stained glass work. So that's kind of it was a very cool piece. The Art on the Move, I think this season is stronger than I've ever seen it. And so be sure and get out to see some of those pieces that have been installed. AIPP has also got an intern that they've been working with to complete the downtown AIPP collection data. And so really working on some of that collections management data that we haven't had for a long time. And you know, one of the side effects of the coronavirus has been that we have been able to do a lot of that, the information collection for the AIPP. And so, you know, there are some silver linings in all of this. And then AIPP is also working with Wayne Tomac and Youth and Family to discuss some partnerships and in neighborhood and improvement projects. And so some good collaborations there as well. So that's all I've got for the report. Are there any questions based on all of my very quick running through of that? We've been busy. Kaylee, be sure to let me know if you've got any questions, and welcome to the meeting tonight. You can see that in addition to the Discovery Days that you've been participating in, there's been a lot of other activity that we've been trying to do to get as much engagement and as much kind of service to the community as we possibly can.
Great, thank you, Kim. Does anybody have any comments or questions? Okay, I do not have a report myself. So Kim, if you are ready, we could talk about the strategic plan.
I did share with you all the newest version that's a little bit more. Go ahead, Dale.
I'm just, I didn't realize that I had two versions printed out. So which is the newest? This one with the Friends of the Library stuff down below, or this one? I don't know how to explain. One, I think I printed out with the packet, and one, I don't know where I got, but it may be the one that I wrote all my comments on.
There was one that we talked about at the last meeting, that we shared at the last meeting. And then there was one that was shared with this new packet. And that one is a little bit more polished and designed, if that's helpful. Eva's got the new one showing on her screen.
Okay, just
It's
keep talking and I'll figure out which.
okay. It's basically the same content. It's just that the newer
Right.
version is a little
Except
bit
there
more
are a
polished.
few changes. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So we did, Eve, kind of on base, partly on your comment last time, we did have a graphic designer take a look at this and do a little bit more polishing of it. And so I don't know if there are other comments or questions that people might have. I will say that one of the things that has come up in my conversations with the Friends organization is that this is really intended to be a living document. And so we can update it, we can mark things off as complete, we can add new things as they become more relevant. That's really the way that the StratOps program or the project was really intended to function. This, I think, gave us a little bit more kind of high level, like I've been talking about, like, why are we doing this? But the details and the strategies and the sort of goals can kind of change underneath that as we see fit and as we are kind of ticking things off of our list. So it really is intended to be kind of a living document. So what I would say as I ask you to consider adopting this is that it can change in a lot of different ways, even after we say we're going to adopt it. I think what we are talking about when we talk about adopting it is really that high level stuff of, you know, that these are going to be our sort of goals moving forward, and that these are going to be some of the strategies that we use in order to make those goals come to reality. I'm happy to entertain other questions if you guys have any.
Kim, this is Ria. I was just looking at under the Wonder section, grow exhibition attendance. Are those numbers or goals going to change at all or be impacted by COVID and the change to virtual? Are you going to incorporate more virtual moving forward? And would those numbers change based on that?
That's a great question. And I think that, you know, this is a moving target for all of us right now. And what I would like to be able to do is give us some stretch goals. I do think that what we are seeing with the virtual engagement is that we are actually able to have more people participate in our programs virtually than we ever were able to host on site. And so, yes, I think that those numbers can change, but especially as we talk about virtual engagement, I think we're actually talking about moving them up.
Yeah, that was really my question. If virtual becomes more incorporated moving forward, even post-COVID, would those numbers go up based on that virtual engagement?
Yeah, I think that that's probably true. And maybe to add to the conversation, we are looking into purchasing some live streaming equipment that would help us do this better. We could be in more control of it. The quality would be better, so on and so forth. So we're also hoping to invest in that for the long term and really, I think, incorporate this regardless of what happens after COVID is under control.
Fantastic. I think that's a really, really smart move. What we're seeing now, since this has gone on so long, I think people are relying more on that. And I don't think it'll go away in a lot of instances. Can I monopolize this for just one more second? The other question that came up when I was reviewing this, in the inventory and digitized collections, as of October 2020, you have numbers down here. I was wondering what percentage of the collection that represents. Is there still a portion remaining to be inventoried and digitized, or are you close to done, or how does that stand?
I'll let Eric answer.
So total, so we see we've got about 14,000 objects and photos digitized. In terms of objects, we're probably about halfway there. In terms of photos, counting the Times Call collection, we're just a fraction of the way there. That is a huge collection that we've just barely digitized a handful of, really. So we're a long way yet from getting everything digitized. And then the archival collections, there are thousands of documents to digitize. So we've got a ways to go yet, but definitely have made a lot of progress this year.
Great. Thank you so much. I think that was all that I came up with when I was reviewing it.
Thanks, Rhea. Those are great questions. I appreciate it. Dale, go ahead, please.
Yes, I just had a quick question about, it's under the increased staff in order to achieve, so that's talent, I suppose. One of the strategies is to achieve staffing solutions that won't use city funds. It's the one where you list the increase in FTEs. Is that done with outside grants or funds from the Friends or volunteer? I mean, how do you do that without using actual city funds to increase staffing?
The first thing that we are going to explore is the money that we're going to be getting from SCFE. And so for this initial year, it just so happened that we got tier 2 status during a pandemic. And so there was a hiring freeze. I'm still trying to see if there's any chance that we could still hire somebody under these conditions, since it is outside money and since there is some dependability of that money. I'm still making some inquiries to see if we might be able to hire the first staff member that we identified in our strategic plan was a development person. And that development person, in theory anyway, gives us the ability to really expand even further. And so theoretically, we use SCFD dollars to hire a development person, and then that development person starts looking at individual donors, grants, sponsors, all kinds of other outlets where we can really expand the revenue that isn't city funds. That's a great question.
Thank you.
Yeah, go ahead, Susie.
I'm going to have to jump off to go to another meeting. But really quick, I just wanted, if there's anything that you want me or any of you want me to bring forward to council or kind of highlight, or, as serving a liaison, I always feel like my role is to serve as an advocate for your organization as well, and bringing that highlighted to council. So if there's anything you need from me, or any suggestions or something you want me to bring forward, just shoot me an email, and that goes to anyone. So
great, thank you
so much for joining us tonight, Susie. I appreciate it. I know you've got a lot going on.
It's insane, and I'm a 3rd grade teacher, so I was really excited to see that piece in there. So if there's any way, I can support in that respect too. Bye.
Okay.
Anybody else have questions?
Yeah. Any other questions?
Okay. So Kim, you would like us to approve this? Is that what you'd like, your goal out of the meeting tonight, is to? Okay. Dale, did you have a question? No? Okay. So, is there a motion to approve this strategic plan as it's written, with the understanding that part of its value is that it can change and morph as necessary as it goes forward?
I move that we approve the strategic plan as written and as a living document that can be changed as needed.
Great, thank you very much. Is there a second?
This is Chris. I
sorry?
second.
Great, thank you, Chris. All in favor? Please wave your hand, say aye, whatever works here. Great, thank you. All opposed? You can't vote, Kim.
I was waving to Chris,
All right.
sorry.
Oh, that's okay. Okay, so this motion has been approved unanimously. So we can move on and use that to help make things happen in the future.
Thank
Are
you
there
all.
any
Really appreciate
comments?
it.
Great. Anybody have comments, concerns, questions about anything in general? Sorry. Is there a motion to adjourn the meeting if no one has any comments or questions?
This is Chris. I move.
Thank you, Chris. Is there a second?
This is Bryden. I'll second.
Great. Thank you, Bryden. All in favor of adjourning, say aye, raise your hand. All opposed? Okay. That passes unanimously also. Thank you all so much for being here tonight, and I hope you all have a lovely Thanksgiving, however it's, whether it's virtual or in person. So we'll see you again in December. Thank you very much.
Stay
Sounds
safe.
good. Happy
Night.
Thanksgiving.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, thank you.